Welcome to episode 7 of Friends and Film, a podcast where we talk about the latest movie news and theatrical releases. I'm your host, Cooper Hood, at Coops_Hoops on Twitter, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Josh Straley, at StraleyStrong on Twitter. You can follow the podcast on Twitter as well, at Friends and Film, and you can subscribe to us on YouTube at Friends and Film as well. You can also subscribe on SoundCloud and iTunes at Friends and Film. Use the and sign. But enough about us. Also, you might have listened to heard that music coming in before the podcast started. That was from the Deadpool soundtrack, Deadpool Rap by Team Headkick. So you should, if you like the movie, you like the soundtrack, and you like the song, you should go give it a buy. It's like $10 on iTunes. But Josh,
yeah, that song gets me every time. But how you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty well. I think I'm coming on a little bit of cold, but it's okay. It's Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yes,
well,
perfect to be reviewing Deadpool.
Yes, the romantic comedy of the weekend. I think that's probably what it'll end up being dropped into when everything's said and done.
Maybe. I mean, How to Be Single came out this week too, so I guess that's probably the most Valentine's Day-y movie. But that's also kind of like counter-programming, maybe? I don't really know. I haven't seen it.
Me neither. But before we get to the Deadpool review that we got today, we've got plenty of news to go through, don't we?
Yeah, we've got quite a bit of news, especially trailers. Super Bowl Sunday was a week ago and had a lot of trailers drop, ranging from full trailers to teasers. Some were first footage. But quick rundown of all the trailers we got during the Super Bowl and throughout the rest of the week. We had a new teaser for Captain America Civil War, 10 Cloverfield Lane, full trailer for The Jungle Book, teaser for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Independence Day Resurgence, X-Men Apocalypse, and then we got full trailers later in the week for Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, The Huntsman, Winter's War, Purge, Election Year, and there was also a teaser during the Super Bowl for Jason Bourne, the newly retitled Jason Bourne. Pretty soon it's Bourne 5.
Yes, that is a lot of those.
Yeah, any stand out to you?
Any standouts? Well, this Thursday we got the new Batman vs Superman trailer, and I think I was actually blown away by this one. The trailer starts everything out from Batman Bruce Wayne's perspective, and it kind of shows him going about his vigilante antics during the night and bantering back and forth between Alfred and Bruce Wayne, and then it starts to allude to the bigger problem of Superman. And it was the most fun trailer out of all of them that I'd seen, and I really wish I would have seen this prior to everything else, so I wouldn't have such conflicting feelings about this film now.
Yeah, we talked about this because we saw Deadpool together, and we were talking about this before Deadpool started, and we had a very long conversation about the BVS trailer. And I mean, I loved it. I thought it was probably the best trailer they put out. Batman looked amazing. I mean, all of his combat is hand-to-hand, just throwing dudes and just crashing through floors, jumping through buildings was great. And then the ending shot where he stops Superman's punch, and Superman's just like, oh crap.
Yes, that was fantastic.
So I really liked it, but then there were reports that came out from like Birth Movies Death and HitFix that Warner Brothers isn't completely confident in the movie, that it's getting mixed reviews from inside the studio. So they're still trying to figure out what this movie is going to be about, really. And hopefully it's good. I mean, I want it to be good. We haven't been very positive about the movie kind of leading up with all the news that's come out about it. But this trailer really got me excited for it. If it was, in the theater that night, I would have been right there to see. I'll be there no matter what day it comes out. But I mean, I was really excited for it prior to all the speculation that maybe it won't be as good as Warner Brothers or maybe fans had hoped for. Captain America Civil War though blew me away. Like, man, that teaser, I am unapologetically a Marvel fan, and my gosh, seeing that drop for the Super Bowl, that was pretty much all I was thinking about for the first quarter.
What was the one scene or one clip from that 30-second teaser that you just thought was the greatest thing ever?
I would say the greatest scene is when Bucky tries to just point blank shoot Tony right in the head, and he has the watch turn into a glove, and he just stops the bullet, and his face just like, did you just try to kill me, dude? Like,
yeah,
what? But probably the best thing about it was kind of at the very end, they showed Team Iron Man, and it's just the panning shot, and then Black Panther's there at the end, and then kind of it cuts. And I'm 98% sure that at the end of that shot, right next to Black Panther, is going to be Spider-Man.
Oh, man. That would be pretty crazy. They did cut it short because that is a really close pan of Black Panther.
Yeah.
As opposed to Captain America's lineup where the camera tilts out and you get full body shots of everyone. Black Panther's the only one that is cut off. So
plus, I mean, if you look at sides, it's Iron Man is 5 currently in that shot, and Cap is 6. So why not just even the odds? I mean, Iron Man's already stacked enough. They don't need Spider-Man on their side.
Sure.
Cap needs all the help he can get in terms of pure strength and superhero powers and stuff. But man, I just can't wait for that fight to go down in May 6th, so in like 3 months.
Yeah, I love that what you mentioned, that first scene with Bucky and Tony Stark going at it, because when you look at it, Tony's in a suit and tie and it looked like in a formal building, and you look at Bucky, he's wearing a cap with a hoodie and sweatshirt. It almost looked like an assassination attempt.
Yeah.
So that was what caught me off guard, and I'm almost wondering if that leads to the beginning chase down of Bucky.
That's what I'm trying to figure out when, because it's so far in the trailers he's had like 3 or 4 different like sets of clothing, which can be kind of telling and as how far the movie progresses. So it's trying to figure out when that happens, because I would assume this is kind of the thing that would get people really riled up about catching Bucky. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, this could be a point where they already caught Bucky for the first time, and then Bucky's roaming the halls of the Avengers Academy, and he's just ticked off, and he goes and tries to just shoot him right then and there. And then that's when Cap has to kind of just leave the team and go off on his own and try to find Bucky and get him to realize you don't have to do this. Like, you're causing a lot of chaos for the rest of us. And then that's where kind of Civil War begins from, but I don't really know.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Or I always thought that whatever Tony Stark ended up doing after he drove off into the sunset at the end of Age of Ultron, whatever he's doing is actually what incurs Bucky. But yeah, that was definitely a good trailer for sure.
Any other ones stand out to you?
Other ones. Well, 10 Cloverfield Lane, of course. We didn't get a whole lot more information other than it wasn't set to a song, so we could hear some dialogue. We learned a little bit more about John Goodman's character, and he seems more evil every time I see footage of him. So when J.J. Abrams said that this movie was in the same vein as Cloverfield, I'm just wondering if there's an actual monster or if John Goodman's, the quote-unquote monster.
Well, because like the tag is like monsters come in different shapes or sizes or something, right? So yeah, that kind of makes me think that Goodman is the actual monster in the movie.
Yeah, but then that got all thrown off for me because at the very end, when she gets outside, you hear what I imagine is the Cloverfield monster, Clover, like roar or screech or behind a house. So then it's like, okay, now they're throwing you, or at least a curveball, or at least trying to say maybe there is a monster out there.
Yeah,
ultimately.
It's very confusing. Yeah, I like that one. Some of the other ones, I liked the Jungle Book spot. It was great to kind of hear the rest of the voice cast in their roles, like Idris Elba and Bill Murray, and the rest of them. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, I thought it was goofy, and it felt very similar to the first one, which I didn't hate the first one. I didn't love it. It was just kind of, it existed.
It's not the 80s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that's for sure.
No, definitely not. Independence Day Resurgence, that one I didn't care for really at all. I haven't seen the first one, so I don't have any ties to the franchise, but it didn't do anything for me. Apocalypse, I liked that one quite a bit. And then, Huntsman, Winter's War, that I'm still not really sure about how the movie's going to work, because the first one's pretty weird. But I mean, when you add Emily Blunt and Jessica Chastain to the mix of Chris Hemsworth and Charlize Theron, I mean, that's always. I mean, it sounds great.
Yeah, that's an all-star cast for sure.
Yeah, and then Purge, election year.
Yeah.
I watched. And I mean, it looks interesting. I watched it because the trailer came out. I've been meaning to watch the first two movies for the first time, and I watched them both. And I watched the trailer. I was like, I'm in. I mean, Frank Grillo is amazing, and he's easily the best part of Purge Anarchy. So, I mean, I was surprised it came out this year just because I haven't really heard anything about it. I was like, oh, okay, it comes out in July. Like, all right.
Yeah, those Purge movies are, depending on how election day or election year shapes up, they're either going to be a testament to how a great concept can go horribly wrong, or maybe they're going to finally get that formula right. Because I don't know about you, but the first two they're all right, but I don't think they take the whole idea of the Purge to maximum effect. I mean, they don't use it as much as they really should, especially in the first one.
Yeah, and I'd agree. But what about Jason Bourne?
Oh, the one I was most excited about?
Yes.
That one? The 30 seconds were easily the best 30 seconds of the Super Bowl advertisements. That is my completely biased opinion. I learned a few things. The world's in danger, and Jason Bourne loves to punch people with his shirt off. So, I mean, what was your reaction to it? Because we've been talking about it a lot.
I was very impressed from what I saw. It made me want to just go watch the first three Bourne movies right then and there. Just because I love that. I love that universe, and I love Jason Bourne as a character. And I know it's gotten some flack online about, just calling it Jason Bourne, but I like it. I mean, sure, it doesn't stay with, Bourne Identity, Bourne Supremacy, Bourne Ultimatum, like stay with that kind of those titles. But I mean, this looks like it's like the final chapter for Jason Bourne, kind of. That's kind of how it feels. Not that he's going to die or something at the very end, but like this is like the conclusion of his story. Definitely,
yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I could see them pushing it to a full trilogy to end it.
Well, for sure. And also, Matt Damon spoke in an EW article, and that's where we got a lot more of the sense of the direction of this film, because you get some audio clips of people talking about how the world's in danger and needs their help, but Matt Damon's article in EW really kind of sets everything up, and he talks about how it has been a long time coming, and they're going to use some current events to kind of help set the stage. But the biggest thing for me was when he did talk title, and he didn't rule out sequels either. That was my favorite thing. So like you said, like people have given it flack about the title. No, because this story is the journey of Jason Bourne trying to figure out who he is ultimately. And now at the end of the Bourne Ultimatum,
sure,
yes, he recovers his identity. So now he really truly knows that he is Jason Bourne. So, I mean, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the Jason Bourne trailer, and I can't wait to see more footage from that.
Yeah, you mentioned the EW article. I'll run down some of the quotes he had from it. He said, "There's been the financial collapse, the Great Recession, all these issues of cyber warfare and civil liberties, things that are slowly coming into the Zeitgeist as we start to grapple with the future is going to look like. And so those are kind of somewhere in the stew of our story." So kind of what you mentioned, cyber warfare and stuff. And he said, what you alluded to earlier, he said, "It feels like the conclusion, even though we're not saying it's the conclusion. It feels like the conclusion to my identity journey." So I feel like this movie he's got to figure out who he is, and then what happens from there on out should be really fun to watch. And then we didn't see her in the trailer as far as I can remember, but Alicia Vikander is in the movie, and he gave a brief word on what her role is. It hasn't really been revealed yet. He said, "She plays a new character we're introducing, and she's a specialist in cyber. Instead of just 3 areas of warfare, air, land, and sea, there's now this 4th element, cyber. The implications of that are huge, and she's representing that in the movie." So I'm glad to know that she has a pretty big role this time in this installment of the movie, and kind of seeing her as like the techie Cyberperson should be fun to see.
Yeah, definitely. I do remember that. So I don't know, maybe if she'll maybe be what the plot's centered around, or whatever the case may be. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
going to be
possible.
super interesting to find out where they want to ultimately take everything that they've alluded to from that teaser.
Yeah, and another franchise that's going to be returning after some time off is apparently Bad Boys 3 is going to happen. Joe Carnahan's been rumored to be attached for a while as a director, but now Will Smith has confirmed that the boys are in fact back in town, as he told BBC Radio 1 Extra that he and Martin Lawrence are, quote, definitely doing another Bad Boys movie. So, are you excited for another installment in this franchise?
Wow, 'tis the season for sequels. I'm not excited. I don't care as much about these movies. I've only seen the second one, and we popped it on just because we wanted background noise during a party. So it wasn't like I was blown away by anything. There's a lot of things getting shot up, blown up, and then a car chase that was unrealistic even for like the Fast and Furious movies, to be honest with you. But it definitely was. I think if I was focused on it, I may have had fun or would have thought it was like, enjoyable. But maybe with them being out from Michael Bay's direction this time around, we can see something different. What about you?
Yeah, I've seen the first two. The first one, I really enjoyed. The second one, it was good, but it wasn't great. So seeing a third one, I like Will Smith a lot, so I'm interested to see what he can bring back to the franchise and kind of what the direction of the movie is going to be. Because if it's just them two, teaming up again, 10 years later after they separated or something, like that's a really dumb plot. But if it's, I don't really know what kind of plot they could do that would really be like interesting. But because I know there was at one point talks that there'd be a revival of the Bad Boys franchise, but it'd be with younger cops, like under the supervision of Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. So I don't know if that's the way I want them to go, but I mean, we'll see. I have to know more about the plot before I really invest in a third one.
Definitely. I like the idea of older generations passing the torch in franchises to their younger counterparts, like Creed. That was probably arguably one of the best ways to work in Sylvester Stallone's character Rocky and have him kind of hand the boxing franchise over for sure.
Yeah, hopefully he's not done with it.
Absolutely.
I know he's
not.
alluded to it recently,
right.
But hopefully that's not the case.
Because if he ends up going out on that cancer note, that'll make me so mad. Absolutely.
Yeah. We're going to talk about another big franchise possibly getting a pretty big name star with Fast 8, possibly, might as well call it Fast and Furiosa. I know that's been going on a lot on the internet because Charlize Theron, according to Deadline, has been offered the role of the main villain in the movie. I know last week I mentioned that I thought that the Shaw brothers were supposed to be back for the 8th movie, but maybe they're pushing that or something, or that got canned.
I hope so.
Or maybe she's a Shaw sister. They're just gonna get a whole family affair in there.
Oh yeah, or the mother, or like some workaround like that.
Mom, no.
Well, maybe
she has to be play somebody really old.
Regardless, I finally caught up to the rest of the world 2 weeks ago and saw Mad Max Fury Road, and am absolutely on board for a casting like that. It's like, I think you told me before, it was the best Fast and Furious movie you ever seen. It's a perfect transition to make.
Yeah, I'm excited to see her. Just kind of, the Fast and Furious franchise has always just kind of been, mediocre actors who they're not big names.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the exception of The Rock. Once they got him, that was kind of like, oh, wow, they got The Rock on board. He's like he's one of the biggest actors, not only physically but in terms of popularity.
Yeah.
In the world right now. So getting somebody like Charlize on, I makes me more interested in Fast 8. But hopefully it doesn't come at the cost of her being in another Mad Max movie.
Yeah. Well, do you think I think we talked about it last time, but do you think this signals maybe a change in direction if they're trying to get, high profile, high quality actors?
It's possible. I know Fast and Furious has always been really good about diversity, and I know that's been an issue raised a lot recently because the Oscars and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
And then women's right of pay, and other issues within Hollywood like that. So there hasn't been a lot of strong female villains in a lot of movies. So getting a franchise like Fast and Furious kind of tackle that pretty early on would be something that'd be good for them. It'd be a good way to market it. So I can understand it from that perspective. But yeah, it doesn't give me any more faith that it's going to be less cheesy and more serious.
Well,
because she hasn't taken it. Of course, apparently she's had the offer for a while.
Okay.
So we'll have to see if this actually pans out or not.
Sure. And that movie's got, another year to go before its release date?
Yeah, it doesn't come out till next year.
So plenty of time for her to take jump on board the project and them to get rolling.
Yes, but some other movies did get rolling this week. Star Wars Episode 8 and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 both started filming this week, respectively.
Bam. How great is that to hear?
Oh, it's so great.
Please, yes.
I've
been following John Boyega on Twitter, and he showed up. He showed off his outfit for principal photography when they started to get that going. So I knew the announcement or the final word was going to come out that they had begun filming. So I'm so glad to hear that. Looks like it's going to be on schedule.
Yeah, definitely. It's super interesting that these are supposed to be released 2 or 3 weeks apart from each other, which made me nervous as a Marvel fan for Guardians 2 in terms of box office, because some people might hold off on seeing Guardians because they know Star Wars is coming out a few weeks after, but now that Star Wars put himself back in December where it should stay, all Star Wars movies should come out in December just because it will destroy box office numbers for every year. I'm really excited to get back in both of these universes and see, what kind of new characters are added. Star Wars 8's been rumored to want a few new female characters, and Guardians, there's been a lot of talk about, Kurt Russell possibly joining the cast, and another Asian actress possibly playing Mantis, and just a whole bunch of interesting stuff that could happen with Guardians 2 that I can't wait for both of these movies.
Yeah, did we talk about Gwendoline Christie saying that she would be back as Captain Phasma for Episode 8?
We did not, because I thought it was already confirmed a while ago.
It was, yeah. Oh, was it?
Who was it? The head of Lucasfilm currently.
Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, Kathleen Kennedy. She stated it a long time ago.
Okay. Well,
and so then when Gwendoline Christie mentioned it, I was like, why does everybody care? I thought this was already confirmed.
All right. Well, that was the first time I'd seen. I didn't see the Kathleen Kennedy quote, but I did see Gwendoline Christie herself that said that she's back as Phasma. So I am glad for that, because I was concerned about her character being a throwaway, which I did not want.
Yeah, that'd be really bad look for Lucasfilm if they got rid of her after one movie.
It would be the worst casting decision outside of Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, because Jar Jar should never been casted.
He should have never been CGI'd, I guess.
He never should have been in existence.
Right.
But some other CGI messes. Transformers franchise. So, did you see the fourth one by any chance?
I did not see the Mark Wahlberg fourth one because
didn't miss much.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that.
Took a real dive. I still thought it had its redeeming qualities. It got terrible reviews, but
it's Mark Wahlberg. I don't think I've seen a movie where I've been like, "Wow, Mark Wahlberg, this movie was awful." So,
yeah.
Unless you're going to say that about this one,
it's not.
It's not Mark Wahlberg's fault.
It is. No.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that.
It's just the way they marketed, because it was Transformers: Age of Extinction, and then they marketed it with all these dinosaur robots and stuff.
Oh, that's right.
So, some spoilers, I guess, for Transformers 4, but those dinosaurs don't show up until the 15 minutes till the movie ends.
Oh,
And it's just like, what?
that's it?
Yeah, like all of their footage was shown in the trailers, so that was really disappointing. But yeah, anyways, Paramount announced dates for 3 more Transformers movies. It was originally thought it was going to be Transformers 5, 6, and 7, but one of them is actually a Bumblebee spin-off movie, which I'm actually excited for. That's what I'm looking forward to. But Transformers 5 is coming out June 23rd, 2017. Bumblebee spin-off will be released on June 8th, 2018, and Transformers 6 is coming out June 28, 2019. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're a fan of Transformers, you're not going to be going without them for a while, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's just crazy we're going to get 3 Transformers movies in 3 years. It seems really necessary, but I understand from Paramount's perspective because they need they want the money, obviously. I mean,
totally.
Transformers 4 did over $1 billion for somehow. So they're just capitalizing on all the money it's making. It is interesting that Transformers 5 is dated on the same day as Wonder Woman. So you have to wonder if Wonder Woman moves, because Wonder Woman currently is not as big a name as Transformers 5.
Definitely not.
So I feel like Transformers 5 would really eat Wonder Woman up at the box office. So I wouldn't be surprised if I guess they'd probably push it back a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure that's being considered at Warner Brothers, but depending on the momentum that Batman vs. Superman and Suicide Squad gives that DC extended universe, I wouldn't be surprised to see that date moved, for sure.
Yeah, it's just funny. This is like the 3rd time it's happened to Warner Brothers where some other big franchise have put their movie on the same date as one of theirs.
But in all fairness to Transformers, I mean they've been grossing plenty of money throughout the decade, and people are enjoying it. And I don't just want to hate on it because I think it's. No,
I mean they are what they are. They're CGI robots fighting each other with Michael Bay still directing them. You know, you're going to get these young women in tight and revealing clothes with close-ups of their butt and their boobs, and that's what those movies are.
Yeah, and I mean, I just don't want to hate. I don't want to hate on them because they're successful. They're movies that I hate, but they're still successful. But they've got a winning formula, and they're continuing to use it. So, bravo for Paramount on making money. That's the end of my rant. I'm sorry.
That's fine. So that's the end of our news segment, which brings us to our review of Deadpool, highly anticipated movie of the year. It's in my top 10 list. We'll see if it makes it into the top 10 at the very end of the year. But
that's going to be close.
You want to start, or you want me to start?
Well, I came away. I want to hear you start because I think I'm going to have a pretty differing opinion, and I want to contrast this.
That's fine. All right, so the Deadpool movie really was. I mean, it's a superhero movie, but they try to really make themselves separate from the rest of the movies by making it R. I mean, Deadpool's already unique enough by the fourth wall breaking, and a lot of vulgar language and jokes, which were really funny at times. But so I really enjoyed the movie. I'd give it 4 out of 5 chimichangas in honor of Deadpool.
Yes.
Ron Reynolds was the perfect Deadpool, both in the costume and just as Wade Wilson. And it made its mark in the superhero genre by not only making it R, and doing other stuff that most other superhero movies couldn't do, but it was a love revenge story, perfect for Valentine's Day, I guess.
Yeah.
So that really drove the plot. I really liked the supporting cast. All of them were great, especially the X-Men stuff was probably my favorite part, where between Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Yes, Negasonic Teenage Warhead may have actually stole the show for me, to be honest. But go ahead, sorry.
Oh no, that's fine. Yeah, so she was great. they were great. All the inside jokes about just the X-Men franchise were hilarious.
Yes.
Oh yeah, this is all spoiler free, by the way, so
Mm-hmm.
I won't reveal anything too major. But in the opening credits sequence was literally like right from that point on, I was like, all right, this is the type of movie. It was the greatest. It was the best way they could have, for people who weren't familiar with, the movie, and maybe hadn't seen a lot of the marketing and stuff, which I don't know how you could not see the marketing for Deadpool. It was everywhere.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was just like directed by this unknown guy, and then it's just
overpaid
like,
tool.
Yeah, overpaid tool. Hormone-filled teenager, starring a CGI guy. It was just like, it was great.
Yeah.
And then just like the camera work on it and stuff was great, and the action was amazing. It was pretty funny. I thought it could have been funnier, or I thought it would have been funnier.
Mm-hmm.
And they told the origin of Deadpool, which I liked his origin story. I just didn't like the way they told it.
Right.
But so yeah, 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. All right. Well, this is going to be my first 5 for 5 rating.
Whoa.
So 5 out of 5 chimichangas.
Right.
And I know there was some questions on how my ranking system works, and a 5 for 5 to me means that the movie accomplished what it set out to do. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and couldn't think of anything bad as soon as I walked out of the theater door.
Okay.
So Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese were the Zombieland writers.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that until I got home that night. And to find out that they wrote it, it almost felt like the perfect fit, because Deadpool is superhero satire. I mean, it pokes fun at all of the tropes and cliches of superheroism.
Sure.
Does that sound right? Okay. Well, and from the very beginning, like, the movie's not taking itself seriously whatsoever. From the opening dramatic credits to all of the like X-Men joke making, superhero cliches, and the comedy. Yeah, definitely a lot of rated R comedy, which at times is hilarious and some other times rather cringeworthy. But you mentioned the action sequences. They were, at points, I would almost say as good as Zack Snyder could do, especially when Deadpool is going commando with his ninja swords.
Yeah,
I thought that those were exceptionally done. And I already said this, but yeah, Negasonic teenage warhead and Deadpool's back and forth from the beginning of the movie to the end is some of the best interactions. And you said you didn't like how they told the story of his origin, where traditionally it's chronological, but this time it's narration by Deadpool throughout the day that he gets his revenge, which I thought it was a good way to break up the monotony of telling a chronological origin story, and at the same time it allows for him to break that fourth wall that he so often does. So I didn't think that was too much of a bad part.
It was just, for me, like, I guess we'll move into spoilers from here on out.
Okay.
Just because I don't want to accidentally spoil the opening sequence for anybody, but I mean, the whole thing leaked online like 2 years ago. Anyways, but I mean, the way they start off the movie, and it's him, guns a-blazing. Him in the cab, which the cabbie guy was great.
Oh, yes, I can't forget about him.
I can't remember his name. Dopinder.
Yes.
Yeah, he was hilarious. Some of the best moments came in that cab.
Mm-hmm.
But just watching Deadpool, just kind of mow down all the guys, and you understand he's on a revenge tale basically right from right from the get go, and then you're just like, oh, but how do you get here? Let me show you real quick, and then they jump back, which I was like, that's fine. I was okay with that at that point, but then they told part of the story and how he met Vanessa, and then they jumped back again to present day, when I think it was, I can't remember exactly when all the time jumps happened, but it was like when he was about to get Ajax for the first time, and then he got him, and then they jumped back again. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then they told a little more of the story about how, about how he got cancer, and then how he was going to get treated, and then they jumped back again, and then they jumped back in time again, and then they're like, okay, and then they told the whole origin. Now we're going to go present day. And I just, if it was one long sequence where it was the opening sequence, and then in the middle of the action he's like, oh, by the way, you guys don't know why I'm doing this. Let me show you real quick.
Yeah.
And then they told the origin story in one cohesive piece of story, then I would have been fine with it. It was just, I didn't like the multiple breakups in the midst of one of the better action sequences within the movie.
Okay.
That was my complaint. Just because because like you're in the heat of battle, and then just like, oh, but let's go back to love life. I was like, oh, I was enjoying that. Yeah. And then it'd be like in a really interesting part of the origin story, then it'd jump back again. I was like, oh, I was liking that, but okay, I'll try to wait. What happened again? Right. So that was my only real complaint. And then it had gotten kind of hyped up for me that it was like incredibly funny. And I understand movies have to have their serious points and stuff, so it can't just be a running joke the whole time. But there were moments where I think they were trying to make jokes, and I wasn't laughing at them, maybe because I was too young, I didn't understand the reference. But I didn't feel like there was anybody else in our theater that was also like laughing at stuff I wasn't laughing at.
Definitely. Okay, I can get behind that. In defense of the timeline of events, there, I thought it was great because it's about Deadpool, and when he chooses to fill you in on what's going on, that's when he chooses to fill you in. So when he finally gets Ajax or Francis cornered the first time, he's like, oh, well, this is why I'm after this guy, is because he totally tortured the bejesus out of me until I look like a freak. Yeah. So then, and then it waits till he makes an escape from Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead for him to wrap up everything about his creation of the Deadpool identity.
Yeah, and that's right. That capture that you just mentioned about when Colossus chains him up, and he's like, "I'm gonna take you back to the mansion, right? And to see Professor X." He's like, Deadpool's like, "Which one?" Yes. And then he's like McAvoy or Stewart. Yeah. He's like, because these other timelines are confusing. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yes. Like I started plotting and laughing because that was probably my favorite joke in the movie. Because it was like, yes, like I'm glad these writers and Fox are poking fun at their own confusing timeline that they've set up, where nobody understands really what is canon. Or the other great part too is when he runs up to the X-Men mansion, and knocks on the door, and Negasonic Teenage Warhead answers, and they have a conversation, and then Colossus is the only one that shouts from the background of the mansion, and then Deadpool goes, wow, that's a big house for only 2 people. It's almost like the studio couldn't afford any more X-Men. Yeah, he's like, this is a pretty big house. I never see anybody else here besides you guys. Yeah, I thought that was great because, he makes the plug at, budgetary restrictions and all that, and then Hugh Jackman's face gets thrown around in the magazine issue. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, the movie never takes itself seriously right until the very end. And even then, it does. Like I thought, probably the most part it took itself most seriously was when he was trying to find Vanessa finally after all the time he'd spent, trying to find Ajax and stuff, and get cured. Then TJ Miller's character Weasel just like, dude, you just gotta go find her, man. Yeah. And he's like, all right. And then that was like the most like serious part, even though like because it was just like kind of them, and then she gets kidnapped, and then his response was hysterical. Oh, absolutely. But yeah, it was like that one part, and then probably some of the torture stuff, especially like the one that triggers his mutation, was like Like I'm not laughing at him suffocating over and over and over and over and over.
Definitely, for sure. So, you've already mentioned you didn't like the chronology of him telling his origin story. Was there anything else that you thought was just like, that really didn't do it for me? Or one part that right in the theater you just said, nope, don't like that?
The CGI for Colossus always didn't look the best.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully if he returns for the sequel, that they could kind of touch it up. It's not that I didn't like the look of him. It's just like, okay, like you could tell this was on a $50 million budget.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing the sequel would get like, I don't want them to give him like a $200 million budget for Deadpool II, which is coming. We'll get to it. But just like an extra, $5 million to work on Colossus' CGI and stuff would have helped. Instead of him kind of just being like, oh, and then this wasn't something I thought of, after, like right immediately after or like during the movie, but kind of listening to other people, especially the guys at Collider talk about the movie. They kind of brought up how there's not really like the motivation, or like you don't really know a lot about, Ajax and Angel Dust, I believe is her name.
Yes.
You don't really know a lot about them two and that kind of organization. So that could have been something maybe included. And then while I'll give them that it was very clever the way they showed how long Vanessa and Wade had been together to like show that they've been together for a full year.
Yeah.
But the, minute and a half varying sex scenes was a little weird.
Yeah, definitely. And that's kind of where a couple of my the things that I thought about, where I'm like, I could have done without that, kind of came in. It was sort of that where it's rated R. We're all adults, so I guess we can handle it, I suppose, except for the 9-year-old that we saw exit the theater right after that scene. I was like, wow, that was a very bold move, Father.
Yeah, if you were thinking about taking your little kids to see this movie, do not. It is a fun movie to watch, but you have to understand that it's going to have plenty of crude humor. There is nudity in like 2 different scenes, and don't take your little children to see this.
Yes, so we know one guy that's not going to win Father of the Year, or whatever. But that beginning scene, like you mentioned, and then when he gets to the strip club, obviously it's a hilarious Stan Lee cameo. In case you guys missed him, that's where he pops up. But it just seemed a little over the top. I mean, I didn't feel like you needed to go full frontal there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's like those two were like, okay, like, yes, you are an R-rated movie. Yeah. So they felt like those were kind of moments where they were just doing it because they were R-rated.
Yeah.
So like if you take those scenes out and like maybe change a few of the jokes, like this movie easily, except for probably the gore.
I'd say that's probably one of the biggest parts.
The rest of it, is kind of stuff where you can see how this character can, because that was something I was concerned about with him, in the future, joining the larger X-Men universe and stuff and appearing in an X-Men movie or in a Wolverine movie or something that's not rated R, and how his character would work. So, but it's like that fourth wall breaking and stuff would still work really good. And I was listening to people talk about breaking the fourth wall and him, dropping the F-bomb and, cussing and stuff, and how it would be. I immediately thought how it would be hilarious, because you can't do that for PG-13.
No.
But if they bleep him when he breaks the fourth wall, but then the first time he does it and he goes to
say something,
he drops the F-bomb, and then it bleeps it, and then he turns to the camera and breaks the fourth wall, and he's like, what was that? He's like, can I not say bleep? And he's like, bleep, bleep, bleep.
That would be fantastic.
That'd be a hilarious ongoing joke.
Absolutely.
That would kill all the audience, everybody in the audience.
For sure. And yes, that would be a great way to do it. But
do you have like a favorite joke or a favorite scene?
Favorite scene. Well, I think I mentioned one of my favorites is the him walking up to the X-Men mansion and trying to recruit Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead. That is a mouthful to say. But try to get them, and then he's like, "How come I never see anyone else here?" And then he makes the joke for a superhero movie, the very small budget that Deadpool was done on. So that to me was probably my favorite.
I don't know if it would be my favorite. That one's definitely up there, but one of probably the better scenes was when what's his name, Dopinder picks him and Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead up from the mansion to go fight Ajax.
Oh,
yeah. And then they go over a speed bump, and you hear some go, "Oh!"
Yes.
in the trunk. And then Dopinder has apparently kidnapped his love interest's competitor, and because Deadpool told him to, basically.
Yes.
And then Deadpool turns around to Colossus. He's like, "No, I didn't tell him to do that." And he's like, "I'm so proud of you." And then he's like, "You should let him out right now. Go kill him." It was just great the way they did that.
And then you gotta follow through the conclusion. Deadpool has when they finally get to the final battle, every gun and bullet is in a bag that Deadpool brought with him, and he leaves it in the cab. And he's super ticked. So he calls Dopinder real quick to try to get him to come back to it. And as Dopinder is reaching to answer his phone, smashes into a truck, or someone smashes into him. And he stops short of a car, and then someone smashes into the back of him, the trunk where his competitor is. And the only thing you can assume is Dopinder has a bag full of guns, a guy in his trunk who's probably severely injured now, and what are the cops are going to put two and two together like so quickly? About what's going on.
I know that guy. I saw on Twitter today that he's already signed on for a sequel.
Oh, so, fantastic!
As long as the crew brings him back.
Yeah. And
I'm sure they will. I think we've do you have any other thoughts about the movie in and of itself?
No. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it did its job because I love satire as a whole. I love comedy as a whole. T.J. Miller, Ryan Reynolds are the new Seth Rogen, James Franco, I think, in my mind. So
I'll say
you've mentioned
just really quick before we get to sequel talk. It was weird coming out of the theater because I tweeted that I really liked the movie, but I still felt disappointed for some reason. Even though I thought I was expecting a 4 out of 5, and that's what I gave it.
Yeah.
But I still felt disappointed because I wanted to exceed my expectations, I guess. And as like somebody that really enjoys superhero movies, and listening to other people that really enjoy superhero movies talk about it, they were all giving it 5 out of 5s, 5 out of 5s, 4.5 out of 5s, like near perfects or perfect scores. And I was like, I thought it was really good, but I didn't love it, and it feels like there's something wrong with me.
Okay,
but I'm okay with that.
You've got good reservations, I say for sure.
But yeah, we both saw it opening night. And apparently throughout the rest of the world, everybody else is seeing this because it is projected currently, as we record on Valentine's Day, on a Sunday, is projected to do $250 million worldwide on its opening weekend, which is mind-blowing to me because there were when this movie was like first announced and there's early estimates for it, people were thinking that it could maybe do, that much worldwide. It's like boom, opening weekend 250, and you're like, crap, is there a chance it gets $1 billion?
There's always a chance, but you have to know that it got banned in more than 2 countries, China being one of them, which is a huge movie market. So it could easily get 500 million.
Did it completely get banned, or did they change the rating for it?
I know that Tim Miller said that he was not planning on releasing any other forms of the movie until later.
Okay.
So I would be shocked to hear that they actually went through and did make some PG-13 cuts and reduced violence and gore to get it out in China.
Yeah. So currently, X-Men Days of Future Past, which was the last X-Men movie that came out, is currently the highest grossing X-Men movie worldwide at $747.9 million. What percentage of a chance do you give Deadpool to surpass it and get 750?
I'd say about 22%.
22. It's already a third of the way there.
It is, but I just don't know how much legs it's going to have outside of this month.
Yeah. I mean, it's getting great word of mouth. So I think its window really is from now until probably BVS.
Yep.
So that gives it a full 5 weeks to do that. So I think it has a shot. I would say it's 50-50 right now to break it. But because of this success and the great reviews, Deadpool 2 is already being written. THR reported that even I think on a Wednesday that Deadpool 2 has already been greenlit and they're writing the script currently. And then comicbook.com revealed that Cable would be coming to the sequel, and that was confirmed by the post-credit scene, which was great. And so that gave me the thought of what the title should be for the sequel.
Mm-hmm.
And since Deadpool is all about making fun of other superhero movies and stuff, I thought it should be Deadpool v Cable, Dawn of Force, and just take a shot at DC. And
yeah.
I think normally Deadpool and Cable, work together in the comics, but I'm sure when they're first introduced, I doubt they're going to really see eye to eye. So I could see them taking a similar path to BVS, have them be going against each other in the first half of the movie, and then there'd be a different threat they have to team up against.
Oh yeah, that these guys are going to take a look at whatever happens in the superhero universe from now till they need to start shooting. And yeah, absolutely correct with that title. They're easily going to skewer anything that happens or that goes awry in the superhero world for sure.
So I'm really hoping that that's the title. But yeah, are you excited for Deadpool 2 and Cable coming in?
Absolutely. I mean, even if you said that Cable and Deadpool work together sometimes, so we either get a really awesome battle between these two guys, or we get like a team up movie where they go kick butt elsewhere.
Yeah.
The only thing is though, I don't know too much about Cable as a character.
I don't have that much knowledge about him, but I looked up some info about him. He is from the future, so something the Fox universe has already established is multiple dimensions and time travel and stuff. So
yeah, they love time travel.
Yeah, but Cable's real name is Nathan Summers, and he is the son of Scott Summers. And if that sounds familiar, it's because that is Cyclops. So he is the future child of Cyclops, who we don't know if he's still kicking it at this point. I mean, based on the end of Days of Future Past, he is, but according to Bryan Singer and
he's
the
not.
rest, it's still possible they could kill him. So we have no idea if he's still alive or not. But some of the powers, I mean, he's great, hand-to-hand combat with guns and stuff, but he also has telepathy and telekinesis.
Dang.
So he is quite the mutant.
Well, Deadpool 2. Oh, yeah, that was a great way they introduced Deadpool 2, too, the ending credit scene, which is classic of all Marvel movies for their teasers. Deadpool comes out in a bathrobe and just kind of like shocked, to see he's still there. He's like, "You're still here? No, the movie's done. Go.
Go home."
Yes. And then he drops the Deadpool 2 Cable spoilers.
Yeah.
So
he's like, "Go home. Like, there's nothing to see here. Like, really, leave. Take your trash with you. Clean up after yourself. Don't be a pig." And then it fades to black, and it's like, Deadpool supported X amount of jobs. Then it fades back in to Deadpool. He's like, "Well, I guess I can tell you one thing. Cable's coming to the sequel." And everybody's like, "Yeah, okay, I'm in."
Yeah.
And then, obviously, with Deadpool's success, Fox is going to want pretty much Deadpool in pretty much anything, I would assume, as much stuff as possible. And Ryan Reynolds is all for it. Mm-hmm. And he told Film Starts on YouTube that X-Force is a priority of his moving forward. He really wants to make an X-Force movie. Some of the members for that are Psylocke, who is Olivia Munn's character in X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh, that'll be good.
And then Deadpool, Cable is in it usually. He's actually the leader of the X-Force. Wolverine is a member some points, so maybe they can talk Hugh Jackman out of retirement, hopefully. Get him to stay as Wolverine. And then the character I was not familiar with really was Domino, who is a female marksman. She has probability altering powers, and then she's also the love interest of Cable, so seems like a natural fit to throw her in. Get some you always need a love dynamic.
Yeah. Olivia Munn getting the role, as you said. She has a really well-known comedic background as well. She was on The Daily Show and recently just did the movie.
She's in Ride Along 2.
Ride Along 2. So that's a really good role for her to take, especially if the X-Force movie gets made, and they can carry on. Hopefully, they carry on this satirical tradition, or whatever the case may be, the funny elements.
Yeah, we didn't mention this when we talked about the trailers, but she had a scene where she does like a flip through the air and takes a sword and cuts right through a car. That was like the highlight of the teaser for that. But since X-Men Apocalypse takes place in like the 90s, they'll have to figure out, or like late 80s, early 90s, something like that. They'll have to figure out a way to get her to present day without her aging. So more time travel is probably likely. So maybe,
darn you, Fox.
Maybe Cable goes and finds her, and because he hears about her, and he goes maybe. I don't know. I was about to say something, but I don't actually want that to happen. So I'm not even going to mention it.
Oh man. Well.
Any other thoughts about Deadpool 2 or Deadpool or? No,
I think we wrapped that up all nicely. I think I expressed my satisfaction for Deadpool, my disdain for Transformers, and my future excitement for Jason Bourne.
Yeah, and once again, we didn't do a list this week because it was kind of hard to choose what to do. We could do like a Ryan Reynolds list, or we could have done an X-Men list, but then you get into complications of, do you want to do full X-Men movies or just X-Men canon movies? And we decided, I guess, not to do one. And I know you haven't seen Days of Futures Past, so we can't actually do a canon one because you haven't seen a third of the movies that are canon.
Sure. Yes.
But yeah, that is the end of this episode of Friends and Film. During our time away, be sure to tell us your thoughts on everything we covered by tweeting us at Friends and Film, where you will receive updates on the podcast, movie news, and more. And you can follow me personally on Twitter at Coops_hoops.
And you can follow me, Josh, at Straley Strong on Twitter.
Yeah, and if you are listening to this on YouTube, SoundCloud, or iTunes, please subscribe, like, share, give us a thumbs up, whatever you feel like doing. And if you like what you heard, and you're listening on iTunes, it'd also be great if you give us a review of 5 stars or whatever you think is worthy. Hopefully it is 5 stars. If not, give us suggestions of what you would like to see from the show. And that would be, we're here to talk about it just because we like doing it. But if you're listening, we would like to make it as enjoyable for you as possible. And just tell everybody you know about this podcast. Help us grow. That'd be great. Because if you do any of these things, give us a review or subscription or like or follow us on Twitter. You retweet the podcast. Do anything to kind of further the growth of the podcast. We may be doing some prizes in the near future because I was kind of looking around, some of the stuff I own. I was like, I have multiple copies of a few movies or some excess posters. I got an extra. I got the same T-shirt twice, thanks to a shipping malfunction. So be on the lookout for those prizes. We'll be talking about them on Twitter. Probably try to do one here soon. So if you want to get on the action, there'll be instructions on how to do that. Either be one of our subscribers on YouTube or on iTunes. Give us a review on iTunes. Follow the podcast. Retweet a certain tweet about the contest. Anything like that can happen. But we're looking forward to continue to do this and make this something that maybe you guys can get some extra stuff out of it besides just listening to 2 random guys talk about movies.
And if you don't enter, well, then I'm going to head and take them all. So there you go.
Yeah. Thanks again for tuning in to the Friends of Film podcast. And as always, be sure to watch some new movies before we return next week with a review of Zoolander 2.